The journey to self-acceptance can be hard and painful. From the day we're born, we receive hundreds of stimuli every day. We develop strengths and weaknesses, unique features, preferences, and so on. Each one of us grows and evolves to become a unique person with their own features. If who we are is aligned with or close to who we want to be, our level of well-being will be high. Wanting to change and to aim to be our best version of ourselves is healthy. But what happens when the gap between who we are and who we desire to be is too big and it causes us anxiety and frustration? Well, first of all, let's clear things up a little. The real self is who we actually are. The ideal self is who we want to be. It is an idealized version of ourselves based on what we have learned, the messages that society promotes, what we admire in others, what we wish for ourselves, etc. It's important to separate the two and distinguish between them. Because in the attempt of pursuing our ideal self too much and identifying ourselves too much with it, we might lose sight of who we really are. And we might even beat ourselves up in the attempt of reaching that idea of our perfect self that we build up in our head. Just because we have an idea of ourselves that is close to our idea of perfection, it doesn't mean that we have to match it at all costs. Self-growth is one thing, an important one actually, but self-acceptance and self-love is just as important. I've spent the majority of my life thinking that I'm not worthy and wishing that I could be someone else or just a different me. It took me, and is still taking me, a long time and lots of effort to come at peace with myself and accepting my limits and acknowledging my strengths. But this set of assets and flaws make me me. I am unique and no other person will be just as me. Accepting ourselves for who we are, or at least trying to, doesn't mean that there is no space left for ambition, self-development, and personal growth. It means instead that we are valuable both because of our strengths and our flaws, and that we can be the best version of ourselves thanks to both of those things without necessarily pursuing an idea of perfection. For example, amongst other things, my ideal self meditates every single day, lives in a space that is always tidy and organized, drinks a smoothie every morning and eats exclusively healthy and wholesome foods, doesn't binge eat when stressed out, nervous, or sad, exercises 3 times a week, reads a book a week, uses the sewing machine successfully as a self-taught sewer, and makes her own clothes and accessories, etc., etc., etc. Constantly measuring myself with these ideal standards that I've set and failing at keeping up with them only makes me feel more frustrated. Because every time a simple reminder triggers me to think about any of the things that I mentioned above, I receive the message that I'm not my ideal self and that I failed at it yet again. But sometimes fancying the idea of doing something doesn't mean that we want to do it for real or that we have to. I think that the best thing we can do is finding that sweet spot between who we are and who we aim to be. Accepting ourselves for who we are means to be aware of which our strengths are and work on these so we can push ourselves forward and grow. But it also means to accept our weaknesses, embrace them so that we can learn how to counterbalance them. Obsessing too much over some ideal self is just as counterproductive as thinking that once we achieve that goal, we'll be happy. It's all about learning to love ourselves for who we are, come at peace with it, and try to be our best selves based on who we really are. Nobody is perfect anyway, right? So there, I officially let go of all my perfect ideal selves and try to focus on my real self, which is enough and worthy just as it is. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If so, please like it, share it, leave a comment, and subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one.